So, Mark, did you see the social media video from the Seminole Classic Casino in Hollywood, Florida? I didn't even know this place existed. I guess this was the casino before they built Hard Rock, but he does all of the classic social media tropes. Slay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my daughter watch this and she thought it was great. She loved the yeet when he threw the dice, and then I liked pop off queen. Like he ate and left no crumbs. Oh, it's great.
In an age where casino social marketing is not so great, I think people could learn a lesson here.
Yeah, and I think he had no clue what he was saying the entire time.
Let's start off the show with Mark's favorite topic, F1. And we have some good news. Boyz II Men is going to be singing the national anthem to open the F1 Grand Prix, the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Boyz II Men has had quite an ascension over the last few years. I still remember seeing them back maybe 15 years ago at Prim at Buffalo Bills, and they gave away the tickets for free.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked when they said the best-selling R&B group of all time. Like, I'm like, no, that can't be right, can it? So I looked it up, and yeah, even though they haven't had a platinum record since like 1997, they are with 60 million. You know, I think TLC is second with 50 million, but it kind of blew my mind a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of disappeared for a while, and I think was it the Singing Bee was the competition that he was the judge on, and that sort of brought them back. The Sing Off, okay, and that brought them back, and you know, it's been like crazy since then. I love their music, and they're so good. I mean, I saw them live. I said they gave away the tickets for free. It was an amazing show, and I'm glad to see them getting the billing here. It's really cool. Unfortunately, construction continues, and I get the texts for all the construction updates, and this week's text was a little bit rough, as you can see from this map right here.
Yeah, just draw like a circle around the strip and don't enter. I feel like that's all we need to do.
But basically, you're losing one lane for track light installation. Around Bellagio, you're losing 2 lanes. Some other pedestrian bridges on Flamingo, I think, are closed for a little bit. A lot of construction on Koval. Good news is they finished the temporary bridge. So I don't know. Things are moving along. It's ugly between now and then, but I like fancy maps, so I figured I would show this one.
Yeah. You know, it's not as bad as it was last year. I guess we can say that's being positive. It's not nearly as terrible as it was last year, but it's still going to be rough for a couple weeks, but at least it's not like 6-8 months. But I don't know that there is a normal in Vegas with construction and everything. I think it's just always a cluster anywhere you go, anytime you go, and you just gotta give yourself a little bit extra time to get around.
Do you know what the state bird of Nevada is, Mark?
Doesn't everybody claim the construction cone is like their
the crane, the crane, come on. That's my dad joke of the episode.
There you go. Just like the whoa.
Well, since I like fancy maps, here's another one starting this month, I-11. We talked about this previously. They said it was going to happen this year. Well, they're starting to change the signs. No new roads, but this entire stretch of roadway will be I-11, and they'll have the signs up, and I guess we can celebrate.
You know, this reminds me, like in 4th grade or 5th grade math, the teacher would always ask like a brain teaser at the end of class. And one that stuck with me was, why hasn't the U.S. Changed to the metric system?
Why?
Because it would cost too much to change out all the signs. But yet Vegas is like, hey, let's change some names. Let's spend some money on something that's not really needed. Cool. Sounds good. But no, that's really why we've never made the switch, because could you imagine changing everything over, all the speed limits, all that type of stuff, every sign in the country? It'd be crazy.
What's with the UK? They use for a lot of stuff metric, but then they use miles per hour. It's strange.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're kind of a hot mess, and we inherited that hot mess when we started.
We love all of our viewers in the UK. There's so many of them. You guys are awesome. But explain to us why that is. We would love to know. But back to Vegas. Vegas Valuations was walking through Binion's this week, took a picture of that big empty space in the back, asked, are they going to do anything with this? And I'm just a little bit disappointed that we don't have the flea market there anymore.
Yeah, isn't this where we usually get like the starter jackets for 60% off, and you know, 1990s Chicago Bulls t-shirts and stuff like that? I feel like there's usually at least a couple Z racks of clothes back there. So it's weird that it's just empty. And I don't know why any casino would have any area just completely devoid of anything. It's money you could be made doing something there or having something there. So I'm surprised that it's just kind of sitting there vacant.
I wonder if anybody's ever bought clothes from there. I mean, anybody watching the show, what does this say about that those flea market, you know, low end souvenir shops couldn't even make it in that space? It's a great space. I mean, they could slot machines. Isn't it a casino? Why wouldn't you put slot machines there?
Yeah, put something there, put like a little bar, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you could do, but slots would be the easiest. You bring them in, you drop them down, you plug them in, get it rolling. I don't know, maybe there's like a security issue with doors or something there. I don't know. It's weird.
So I wanted to dive into the comments on the Delano transitioning to W, and a lot of great comments, starting with the fact that we missed the obvious joke with Delano being named after Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The W should be named Dubya.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 12, 15, 18 people made that joke, so they're better than us.
Yeah, we did. We missed the obvious one this time around. Our bad.
I'm still going with "wuh," but here's a few other comments. The hotel was the best. Delano never lived up to the standard. That's talking about the hotel at Mandalay Bay. That was the first version of it. A lot of people love that. Didn't like the transition in the decor and everything else. So I've heard that opinion from a few people. And, somebody else pointing out that we only have one Miami branded hotel left on the strip now. We lost Tropicana. We lost SLS years ago with Sahara. Now this is going away, and now we have Fontainebleau.
Yeah, I think one is enough.
Come on, you got to have douchey hotels for all levels of people.
I don't know that a Trop could ever be douchey. Maybe low-end douchey. I don't know. We've talked about this in the past, like Virgin could have leaned into that a bit more instead of going with like the deserty feel of their hallways and everything. I think they could have leaned in a little bit more Miami and kind of had fun with that and done something along those lines. I think it would have been a better fit. But I do think Fontainebleau, at least out by the pool, they really pulled it off. The Miami vibes and everything, we love those tables, the color scheme, everything. I think inside they could have gone a little bit lighter on the blues. They go very dark blue where Miami's more pastel-y type blue, some pink in there and stuff. I think it would have been really cool if they leaned in fully for the whole Fontainebleau area.
And then this last comment that I love, no matter how Delano is meant to be pronounced, Sean will brutalize Port-a-Cachere when he says it. So I think I looked this up. It's Port-Cachere, I think is how you're supposed to say it in English. So no matter what we say, you're always going to say something wrong.
Yeah, I'm just glad you say all the tough stuff. That's one thing I get out unscathed for. But, funny enough, I ordered some pants online and I would track the shipping and noticed that it started in Rancho Cucamonga, and I got a big smile on my face.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. A lot of fun, great discussion behind the channel. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everybody who supports us over there. So let's dive into a couple Halloween-related topics, starting with Westgate. They have their newest suite. We've been waiting for one, and it's the Day of the Dead suite. Really neat. They released some pictures and a video, and this looks as you would expect. This is one of my favorite holidays. Love Day of the Dead, and I love this suite.
I think this is my favorite of the ones that they've done. It's, a lot of them have been kind of darker. Well, of course, the one was all black, which was creepy. But yeah, even like the Christmas suite, very dark red and everything. And I get that's the theme. You kind of have to go with that. But I think this is really bright, vibrant, very cool, really pretty, good details, touches, artwork, everything looks phenomenal. So I really like this one. And I think that this is the best they've done so far.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad that they keep doing this, keep bringing new suites online and keep this whole thing going. Hope more people kind of get wind of it. I feel like, sometimes they do, but it doesn't seem like it gets wider coverage in the Vegas community as much. But also Halloween related, Sphere of Fear. That's just these cool things they put on the Sphere. I thought they looked neat, so wanted to show them to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would it be? I know it would be impossible to transition it or it would cost a ton to format it to fit the screen in there and everything, but how cool would it be if there was like a Halloween marathon type of ticket that you could get and watch, like they do Rocky Horror Film, things like that, and just a throwback to where you watch like 4 or 5 movies in a row. It would be epic. They could charge the $200 and people would pay it for sure. I know that working all this stuff or turning old film into something that works in the Sphere, it takes a lot of time and money, so I'm sure it will never happen.
It's a great name though. It sounds kind of like a haunted maze or something, Sphere of Fear, but they should lean into that. I agree with you, future years, and obviously they're not going to put a haunted attraction, but yeah, putting in like Halloween theater showings, things like that could be incredible. But love the artwork. We already said this before, but the graphic designers on the Sphere, they deserve kudos. They're working overtime, and it's over a year now, and we just keep getting fresh visuals.
Yeah, I think that's what's really key here is you never really see the same thing over and over, and they come up with something new, and it's always kind of fun and unexpected somewhat, and it always looks great. So they do a really great job there.
So another one bites the dust. Sahara's poker room is going away, and this is a smaller space when you walk through there. Kind of off to the side, and we're losing another. We don't really know what's going to replace it, and this looks like one of the comfier spaces. Nice chairs, nice everything in there, and what will they put there?
Yeah, I've never really noticed it, and maybe that's why it never did so well, or just poker's tough. We've seen a couple people open up a new one, but a lot of places are closing their poker rooms or just aren't as busy as they used to be. And so it's a tough draw, and it probably not a great moneymaker for the casino. So I understand why they would shut this down, but it looks like a great space. Like those tables are really nice. The chairs look comfy. A huge TV. If football or something's going on, you can watch it. It looks like a place that you would just want to hang out. Hopefully they turn it into something like that. You can just hang out, maybe a high-end table game area or a bar or something. But yeah, I think you have a lot of the space already worked out to work great for something like that. You just got to rearrange the tables and all that.
If I remember right, this is sort of in an off the path type of space before you go to the escalator to kind of go up to the pool and some of the convention spaces. It's not in like the main walkway of the casino. I do remember that giant TV. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think they need more eateries there. We already know Bizarre Meat's leaving and they have a bunch of new restaurants there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And you mentioning space to just hang around. I forgot to mention this during the Delano segment, but we talked a few shows ago about how Della's Kitchen is closed and that's the whole restaurant space in Delano. So obviously, I'm sure that's tied to the W transition. But I was wondering, is that going to be a restaurant again for the W, or going to be maybe a lounging space, a lobby space? How they're going to turn that in? So that'll be interesting to see as well.
Yeah, and even when we had our meetup at Sahara, we struggled to find a place. I know one was closed for a private event, the main bar, like right off the casino floor. So that definitely hurt some things, but it's not like they had a ton of other options for us to go. We ended up kind of like the hotel bar. It was tiny. They could maybe use more of a lounge type space. It seemed like they had some room for improvement in that area.
Yeah, when we visited, the Cas bar was closed for that special event for the Super Bowl. That's really their only loungy bar in the casino. And so when that was closed, yeah, we ended up huddling in the bar in the lobby, which was like tight and it wasn't a good experience. So they really could use more spaces. Maybe they need a lounge there. That could be a great use of the space. So we will see. But another poker room goes away. And on the flip side, we got a new high limit room. It seems like everybody's renovating their high limit rooms lately. Makes sense, big money, lots of money coming in through the high rollers in those rooms. But MGM Grand just debuted their brand new high limit room. Looks very nice. It's still MGM Grand's so dark to me. I just wish they would lighten the place up a little bit, but it does look very nice.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I think, they did a good job with what they have. And I understand they have to stick with the color scheme that's throughout the casino. It just feels very 2006, very MGM Detroit. If you've ever been there, like the rooms there have the same type of thing. And I don't know whoever thought purple couches was a good idea. It's never a good idea. After like two spills, they look terrible. So I'm sure those couches are going to look rough like in a month or two. But they did well with what they have to work with. But yeah, I would love to see them come up with a refresh on the color in there and brighten it up a bit.
A couple other things. I think that it looks good, like you say, but your comparison to MGM Detroit is spot on. That I didn't realize it, but when you say that, it does feel like that. I do really enjoy the carpet. It's dark, but it's a sexy looking carpet though.
Yeah, I think the carpet is the showstopper. That and the gold centerpiece, coming down from the ceiling, that looks really great. But yeah, purple couches, man, it's never a win. Purple couch is bad, always bad.
And let's move on to Venetian. We've talked so much about the changes at Venetian. On the last show, we talked about their new rooms and how they're renovating them. And we even compared, Mark made a point about comparing the press pictures of the rooms versus some of the pictures we saw from Shakeup and how the rooms are actually quite a bit darker. Maybe some people in the comments said they didn't look as nice as the old rooms. So a lot of mixed opinions, it seems like, thus far. But one of the big things with Venetian over the last few years is their partnership with IHG Resorts. It's really an intercontinental property. And IHG said that this really hasn't contributed a lot to their bottom line, or it's, we don't hear about this partnership all that much. You and I in the Miles and Point space, we know it, but I don't think the average person knows that Venetian was an IHG, and therefore it won't be one anymore. They're breaking up their partnership.
Yeah, it sounds like it brought in less than $1 million, which, what's the point? I get you're adding rooms, inventory to your customers, your consumers. So maybe that's just kind of one. And then you can say you're in Vegas, but, it's never been really publicized. It's never been pushed too hard. It is kind of a weird match. I mean, Intercontinental's a nice brand, a really nice brand, but IHG as a whole is more like roadside, highway, hotel, motel type feel. So Venetian just isn't really that type of fit to it either. And we've seen like with Marriott skews more high-end properties. MGM's a really good fit there. We thought Hyatt would be a good fit there, but they just don't have the amount of people that, IHG has, much less Marriott. So you run into that. So we've seen how popular these type of things can be and how they can drive money, but it definitely has to be a two-way street. If the person bringing you the customers isn't really making any money, then that, they're not going to go to bat for you really in their space. So yeah, maybe they'll bring somebody else in and give them a better deal.
Yeah, I think that maybe IHG wasn't. I mean, you would think it was. Intercontinental, Venetian did feel like a good fit, but maybe the wider program wasn't. And MGM's talking so much about how Marriott's just throwing them money as far as increased, room rates and everything else, spending on property, all of that stuff. And clearly that didn't happen here. But I think that's a good point. Are they going to bring in another partner? That's a lot of rooms to fill for an independent hotel. So having a partner, that's why they partner with Hyatt or Marriott. That helps to fill up their rooms. And I mean, I would have to think that they're all falling over themselves to get this. Like, this would be great for Hyatt. I don't know what Hyatt's relationship is with Rio, if they're allowed to work with other hotels, but I do think that would fit perfect in the Hyatt brand. And I think it would drive a lot of business there too.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than the Rio does. So I think they could do it. Maybe like a core, even though it's a lesser known program, it kind of fits that mold a bit, and it is a bigger one, just not as popular maybe in the U.S. or with the travelers as you see. But they have a lot of rooms, a lot of hotels throughout the world, so that could be a fit. I don't think Hilton would be a really good fit for them. So I think Hyatt's probably the best of the known U.S. companies to go in there. Like Choice is lower end, probably lower end more so than IHG is, and Wyndham's right down there too. So I think the Hyatt would be the one to slide in there.
And this is just a reminder: Venetian sold during the pandemic or in the last couple of years. So this comes from the previous owners, and you have new owners. And it reminds me of a comment we had on the previous video. We were talking about Caesars Rewards and some of their changes, the drink changes. And somebody said, well, if you want to blame Caesars, blame Harrah's, which was a little weird. But it just reminded me that nobody can keep up with who owns these companies, because, of course, Caesars is really El Dorado, not Harrah's. And that's a whole different company that bought Caesars in 2021. Yeah. And this is why everything has changed. It's a different company. And at Venetian, we're seeing all of these changes. And in some cases, it's really cool. We're getting new venues, the food hall we talked about. But a lot of it has to do with efficiencies and making it as profitable as possible, because it's owned by a hedge fund now. And so that is interesting to kind of look at the wider picture of all of that.
Yeah, I think El Dorado bought a huge mountain of debt, and they're trying to get out of it however they can. And being cheap to their consumers seems to be the way that they think that it's going to work.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, the times, they are a-changing. F1 is coming. I-11, Mark. I-11 is going to we're going to have signs all over the freeway. It's going to be a beautiful thing. They gave us a map. We got beautiful new carpet at MGM Grand in the high limit slot room. It's funny. I can never remember what we talk about at the end of the show, but I just remembered a lot. So everybody should chime in and let us know what they think about all of that stuff, plus anything else we discussed on this show. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
I'm confused on what gets you more excited now, maps or carpet. I don't know.
You gotta mix it up every once in a while.
Have a good week, everybody, or weekend. This is your spooky era. Slay.